If the fence that isn't the landlord's responsibility blows down, they can talk to, or they start to see it leaning, they can talk to the next door neighbour on the landlord's behalf.
If you don't clean an oven from point 1 to the end of the tenancy, 6, 12, 18 months, it's impossible to do it after 18 months worth of neglect.
You need to be thinking or aware that actually your boiler might start to be on its way out. Welcome to the All Things Property podcast with me, Simon Bacon of Preferential Properties. Every week, Ian Sadler and I will delve into all things property. We'll guide you through with friendly, no-nonsense advice. Hi Ian.
Hello Simon, again.
So here we are for another episode of the All Things Property podcast. And today, following on from previous episodes, we're going to talk about the top 10 maintenance issues in rentals and how to fix them. So what I thought we'd do is look at perhaps the top 10, what causes them, how to fix them, and hopefully how to prevent them before they cost serious money. So let's kick off with number 1, in no particular order, I should say. But number 1, damp and mould. What are the causes?
Lack of ventilation, hanging clothes to dry on radiators.
Which causes condensation?
Yeah, which constantly can cause, wouldn't necessarily cause mould, but can do in older properties particularly.
Not having the heating on or having the heating on.
Contrasting temperatures, yeah. Too hot inside, cold outside.
Okay, so how do you get, what are the tips to prevent damp and mould from happening?
Shower room particularly is making sure you've got a good fan that's working properly. The fans that, particularly new builds, put into new build properties now, just don't do the job. They're not fit for purpose. Always when you're in the shower, allow the steam to escape by keeping the window open. Not too open so that everybody can see what you're doing, but clearly let the air in. That would help.
Dehumidifiers?
Yes.
If you suffer from really bad
old
condensation,
properties, old terrace properties, I think dehumidifiers work really well there. You can get them fairly small, 6-inch square boxes that are quite efficient, and it's amazing how much water they take out of the atmosphere.
No, absolutely. Don't turn extractor fans off, even if they are a bit noisy on occasions. No. That often happens. And if it's persistent, then, it's worth checking for external leaks just to make sure there are no leaks that are causing. So if you're getting damp marks in places you wouldn't expect them to, do check and see whether there are leaks. But again, importantly, communication. Item 2, blocks drains. Causes.
Putting the wrong things down the toilets or the wrong things down the sink. You don't,
such as?
Well, wet wipes, nappies, other products.
Oil,
fat. Never put that down the toilet, but down the sink maybe.
Yeah. And something that you and I probably don't experience: excessive hair down the plug hole.
I don't know what to say about that. Yes, well, no, to be fair, I think shower drains are the main reason for those being blocked, and that can cause a problem. You've got a shower, a blocked drain in the shower. The water just goes down slower and slower, and eventually, if it's left too long, will go over the lip of the shower tray and cause real problems. So, tips. Once a month, buy something called drain or sink unblocker. Pour it down the sink. Leave it for a couple of hours, drain it out with hot water, problem solved. You'd be amazed how quickly that can solve a problem.
Strainer plugs,
always
good. And certainly in showers, just lift the top off the drain, just clear it out, because that's often where stuff gets
preventative medicine.
Absolutely, yes. And regular flushing with hot water as well in sinks, I think. Number 3, we've talked about this before. Boiler or heating problems. Causes?
Faulty boilers.
Lack of servicing?
Yeah, lack of servicing, wear and tear.
Not dealing with issues quickly. So normally a landlord's gas safety certificate I would have said most good engineers will give the landlord a heads up
Yeah.
if their boiler is,
On its last leg.
on its last legs. But also, most boilers nowadays come with either a 5 or 10-year warranty. If your boiler is more than 10 years old, common sense would indicate that actually, you need to be thinking or aware that actually your boiler might start to be on its way out.
Yeah, I think if you let the landlord know, then it's not as big a shock when it actually drops.
Absolutely. I also think, so in terms of tips, what would you give as tips?
If I was a tenant and I had a problem with the boiler, no heating, no hot water, which is serious, then I would look at the boiler, check the error code, go online, put the make, model of the boiler and the error code, and 9 times out of 10, YouTube videos on how a potential fix. And if it meant I could get it fixed without calling the agent and get it done 10 times quicker, then I would definitely be doing that.
I would also say keep an eye on the water pressure in the boiler. Watch the bar and make sure it is at a constant 1.5. And if it dips, be aware of that, because if you tackle that early, that will solve it. The other issue is condensate pipes.
Yeah.
Cold weather. The condensate pipe, for anyone who's not sure what that is the pipe that feeds from the boiler outside. Often in cold weather, that will freeze up. That will then cause the boiler to stop working. A good tip that I find is that if it is at ground level outside, if you were to put your dustbin in front of it, then that stops the frost getting to it. It's like having a car in a carport. It will often stop the frost from getting to it.
Yeah.
Or get it lagged.
And
But that helps.
Yeah, and if your pipe comes directly out of the wall behind the boiler, then a kettle full of boiling water, tip it over the pipe, and that will solve the problem.
That solves so many problems, especially when there's a heavy frost or.
But tenants don't know this, do they?
No, they don't.
If it's their first home,
Which is why we're educated.
Exactly. If there's no experience of dealing with blocked condens pipes, then educating.
Absolutely. And also, bleed radiators. Again, you can quickly understand that if a radiator's not getting hot, it is worth bleeding it. And that's just simply using a key and a towel and letting the air pressure come out until water starts to come out where you put the key in, tighten it back up. That will get the heat running around the radiator. Item 4, leaking taps and pipes. Causes.
Taps, washers, wear and tear.
Yep.
New builds particularly, pipe joints aren't what they used to be.
Yeah. And I think the issue here is it's difficult to give any tips on how to avoid a leak. But if you notice a tap is not working as well as it was and there's a slight trickle of water, at that time promptly report it. Generally it's seals and washers that cause leaks. But the issue with leaks, I suppose, again, we've mentioned it, a small leak is often a big cost, so sooner you can get onto it, the better. Number 5 in the rundown to number 10, electrical issues. Causes.
Too many appliances, overloading the consumer unit, main fuse board tripping as a result.
Tips.
Switch off all your appliances, take plugs out of all your appliances, put the switch back on. If it stays on, fine. Put the appliance plugs in one at a time until it trips again. That will isolate the cause of the problem.
Absolutely. Don't overload plugs with extension leads, extension sockets. That's pure health and safety. But for electrical issues, once you've tested, if you've checked your appliances, call, because it does need a qualified electrician to go out and sort it out. One of my favourites, number 6, pest infestations. What's the cause of some of those?
Well, how many times have you had a tenant on the phone saying, I've got an infestation of ants, can you come and deal with it?
Loads.
Yeah, and the stock answer now has to be, it's common. You can't expect a pest control officer to come out and put down powder that you can buy in a DIY store for £5, sprinkle it on yourself. It's a hazard of living in a property. You will get ant infestations at times. Deal with it the best way you can.
Yeah, it's prevention as much as anything else. Making sure that entry point, if you see that there is an entry point or a hole in the brickwork, again, report it, get it sealed up. We can get it sealed up, or the landlord can get it sealed up. That will prevent it. Hygiene, empty your bins, put your bins in dustbins, don't put them in black bags and store the black bags in the garden or around the side of the house. And, just be observant. I think as much as anything else, it's hygiene and observation.
I think you should yourself write a tenant manual, write a book.
Okay, thank you for that. I shall look forward to doing that in my spare time.
Next.
Number 7, broken appliances. What kind of things?
Washing machines not draining properly. Solution, check the filter. Should a tenant be expected to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a problem. You can solve it. How many times have you got one of your hair grips blocking the filter in a washing machine?
Yes, I've got on a regular basis.
It's a simple task. Unscrew the filter, see if there's anything in it. If there is, take it out, and all of a sudden it'll start working. It's a time thing. You can get the problem solved yourself far quicker than getting onto a landlord.
Absolutely. And it's making sure that, receipts and warranties are organised so that if you've had new appliances put in, if landlords had new appliances put in, that, the tenants have the contact number for those, so that if something goes wrong and it's under warranty, that the tenant knows it's under warranty, and often it's the tenant that can phone up and get that sorted.
Yeah.
Number 8. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. Roof damage, especially when there's high winds. How would you sort that out?
Well, it's a call to the agent from the tenant to the agent straight away. Really, it's a health and safety thing. A loose tile, loose soffits on a roof line can cause injury to people. It's not something that I would recommend a tenant attempt to resolve.
No, but do you think that it would be helpful for a tenant to be observant?
Yeah.
If a roof tile slips and they're out in the garden and they look at the gutters and there's weeds coming out the gutters, those are the sorts of things that, again, a
preventative,
proactive rather than having to react. Number 9, nearly there. Gardens and exterior neglect. Who's responsible?
The landlord is responsible for passing that garden on to a new tenant in an acceptable condition. It's a responsibility of the tenant to maintain that property to the same condition throughout the tenancy and handing over at the end of a tenancy.
If the tenant says, I'm not a keen gardener...
Tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pay somebody
the tenant's responsibility is
cut
the grass, weed the patio, weed the driveway, weed the borders, and keep the borders in... bushes, etc., in a reasonable height.
Yeah, I'd kind of stop at weeding myself. Yeah, I do disagree. I think I'd stop at the weeding, really. That's down to the tenant to keep the borders in decent. But I think bushes and shrubs, I think an annual maintenance job for the landlord, really.
Yeah, don't disagree with you. And fencing, that's often a difficult one. Just making sure, I think it's always helpful for tenants to know whose responsibility is whose, so that, if the fence that isn't the landlord's responsibility blows down, they can talk to, or they start to see it leaning, they can talk to the next door neighbour on the landlord's behalf or report it. So good communication. And finally, wear and tear turning into damage. What causes that?
Lack of regular maintenance and cleaning. An oven, for example. If you don't clean an oven from point 1 to the end of the tenancy, 6, 12, 18 months, it's impossible to do it after 18 months worth of neglect. You cannot get an oven back to the state it was unless you get a professional oven cleaner in. And to be honest, I offer that service to tenants, it's going to be 4 or 5 hours of their time to do it properly, and even then, it probably wouldn't work. So you can get somebody in to do it in 2 hours, and it looks sparkling clean. It's well worth £50 or £60 to do that.
Agreed. Okay. So I guess the outcome of this episode really is stay on top of maintenance, and you protect your investment while giving tenants a better home. Communication and observation are probably some of the keys to making sure that maintenance issues don't turn into nightmares. Thank you very much, Ian.
You're welcome.
And if you would like to talk to us about your property needs, or want a valuation, or want to talk about renting your property out, please give us a call. Thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the All Things Property podcast. If you found this episode useful, don't forget to subscribe, like and share. These things really help us reach the people who need to hear this advice. See you next week.